Parashat Vayetzei. Parashat Vayetzei is another one of those parashiot that go through all Sefer Bereshit, when Sefer Bereshit is arranged by two parashiot on a topic. So in a way, this week's parasha, Vayetzei, is a direct continuation of last week's parasha. And it's a continuation for the story of the fight between, this thing is moving, between Esav and Yaakov, and the ongoing struggle between the awareness of the body represented by Esav and the awareness of the neshama, or the soul, represented by Yaakov. And really, it's also about us. To whom do we give the rite of passage? Who is the most important to us? How do we make the decisions? To the body and whatever comes from it, or to the neshama, if we do it all? The parasha opens with the words, Vayetzei Yaakov mi Be'er Sheva ve'ilech Harana. And Yaakov left the city of Be'er Sheva, and he went to the place called Haran. Of course, the question is asked, why do we need to say, or why we need to use the word Vayetzei, and he left, right? Why doesn't it say Vayelech Yaakov, right? Because he went. Why isn't he came out? I mean, don't forget, in Avraham Avinu it says Lech Lecha, Lech, and Yaakov's Vayetzei, right? And he left, and he came out. Rashi explains over there, and that the pasuk, the Torah, was very particular using the word Vayetzei to teach us that the exiting of Yaakov from Be'er Sheva was done on a matter of what we call Kfitzat HaDerech. Kfitzat HaDerech is almost like a leap through time when you transform yourself in a miraculous way from one place to another, to teach us that the exiting of Yaakov from Be'er Sheva was done through a miraculous way. In other words, one way you're in one place, and the other way you are in another place. Something like bim miskari kind of a thing. The Zohar is also medayek on the words, and he explains that in a spiritual world, or in a spiritual realm, in order to reach the awareness of what we call Yaakov, which is the representative of the neshama, we first of all need to identify the Esav inside of us. You need to identify it. That selfishness, that anger, fear, hatreds, blaming, and so on and so forth. These are all Esav-oriented qualities. And after you identified that Esav inside of you, you need to oppose the urge and the constant need of it that we have to satisfy that need. And we need to kind of come out of yourself from your own nature and to do some kind of a leap of faith from yourself, almost like a quantum leap from yourself to a different realm. So therefore, instead of saying to reach out to the place called Haran, right? Haran, if in Hebrew there's a remes to everything, there's a hint for everything. The word Haran, Belshon Haron. Haron means anger. And to reach to Haran, Yaakov was what the Torah says, Paga b'makom. He hit. Livgoa is to hit the place. The place that, according to Mefarshim, is the Holy of Holies on the Temple Mount, where the Jewish temple used to be. And today there is a Muslim colonized by Muslims with a mosque on top of it. Not only that it was Kodesh HaKodashim, he was actually he reached a place that's called Even HaShtiyah. Even HaShtiyah is almost like a magnetic stone that it's in the center of the Holy of Holies, where they used to put the Aron, the tabernacle on it, the ark. So every time that it says Hamakom, right, we refer to that place. And everything that according to the Mefarshim, as we said, this is the Kodesh HaKodashim, that's the Holy of Holies. And every person, every time that a person makes we use the words holech, going, is basically achieving or moving up in the ladders, going up to achieve new levels of spirituality or levels of awareness. So if a person was decreed upon to go, in other words, what we call lalechet, like as we mentioned before, Avraham Avinu, when it says lech lecha, go, right, is in order for you to acquire, or in order for Avraham Avinu to acquire other spiritual levels and qualities that he did not have beforehand. And in other words, he was not perfect, and he needs to go there to really perfect himself. That's one of the reasons that in a way that we are in exile, we're in galut. We need to go and really perfect what was wrong with us so we can come back when we're fixed. If you, for example, go to Israel because you run away from your problems, or to that matter, any place in the world that you go, the problem is not going, you're not going to leave your problems behind. They're going to follow you like a shadow. So if you want to go to a new place and have a new beginning, you got to leave your old self behind. Same thing it goes when you're getting married, right? When you're getting married, if you think that getting married is going to solve your problems, you're wrong. It's not going to solve your problems. It's just going to magnify your problems, because now you have to deal with other people. So you got to solve your problems beforehand. In other words, that's what we'd say, matzah isha, matzah tov, right? You find good. And by the way, en tov ki'im, what do we say of tov? En tov ki'im? Torah. That's right. So when you marry a wife, make sure that you marry a wife that would allow you to learn Torah. So, but here, as we see, it seems like Yaakov Avinu was already, he reached a certain level of perfection. He reached a certain level of perfection. Why? Because in the famous dream that it says, where he sees the ladder and he sees the angels going up and down in the ladder, right? Chazal already was darshaning. They says olim veyordim. They go up and they go down, right? I mean, we all know that angels are in so-called what we call heaven. In other words, so they need to come down to this world. However, in Yaakov's dream, they went up and then they went down. Just the opposite of what naturally we would think it will be. So Yaakov Avinu, right? He is the ladder, right? And according to their closeness to Yaakov, this is how they go up, and this is and right, because the Malachim wanted to see Yaakov Avinu, they want to observe Yaakov Avinu for a reason that we're going to speak soon, right? And as soon as they go away, they actually go down. And why is that? Because Yaakov Avinu has spiritual beauty. Yaakov Avinu has spiritual beauty, and the spiritual beauty is not determined by your face and features, but rather at what spiritual level you're at. And he was in such a level that even the Malachim came to wow themselves out and that great sight of having a person like Yaakov Avinu. Now we should know, the Chazal tells us that in the upper chariot, in the what we call Mercava, the upper chariot, there are four faces. The famous description that we have in where? In Yechezkel, also known as Ezekiel, the guy from the bread, right? Now, and what are the faces? Aryeh, lion, shore, an ox, an eagle, and Adam, and a person. And the Malachei Sharet go up and down in the ladder, and then they see the image or that feature of the Adam in the upper chariot, and then they look down and they see Yaakov Avinu, and they see that this is the same face. In other words, Yaakov Avinu's face is the face that represents Adam in the Mercava. Now, the face of Adam, of a man, is not going to appear in the upper chariot if there is a chance that he would go down from the level that he was at. So therefore, who could be more perfect than Yaakov Avinu? He already reached this perfection. Now I'm going to tell you something that I heard, and it's something that it's really, really beautiful, and I really love that idea. What I wanted to tell you is Yaakov Avinu also known, and which really has to do with this topic, and that's why, I just remembered this. Yaakov Avinu is also known with another name. What was his name? Israel. Yaakov Avinu is known by the name of Israel, and we are called Israel, or the children of Israel, or the state of Israel for that matter, after Yaakov. We are called Israel. The state of Israel should be called Judea or something. By the way, I'm just going to tell you something, and I need to point out to you. And I want to point out to you guys that are here and whoever is out there in cyber world over there, is stop using the word or the term West Bank. Stop using the word or the term West Bank. West Bank is another effort that was put in to airbrush the Jews of history, or the right of the Jews to the land. That place is now called the West Bank. That place is called Judea and Samaria. Just as much as the Palestinian people is an invention, again, of a people, just no different than the Phoenicians, to that matter, to try to airbrush the Jews out of face of history. So stop using the word West Bank. Do me a favor. As a matter of fact, do yourself a favor too. By the way, this shiur is dedicated לרפואה שלמה of Chaim Israel ben Batya Halevi and Shachaf bat Lilach, and to the hopefully release of all the hostages and the refuah shlema of all those who were injured in this horrible ordeal since last year. Anyway, yes. Yes, I'm sorry. Also, Leilui Nishmat Amnon, and this the food is sponsored. Leilui Nishmat Amnon ben Nekadam and Bila bat Rivka. Huh? What? Bela bat Rivka. Yen Nishmatam Tzura b'Tzorah Chaim. So now, why is it called? If you look at the name Israel, give me the thing over there. If you're going to look at the word Israel, right? Can you erase it, please? There is something very interesting in it. Of course, how do you go about it? What do you do with the words? Hebrew is a fascinating language that allows you to do such thing, to actually get other meanings from the word, right? So we know what the Torah tells us. The Torah tells us that the word Israel was giving Kisarita im Elokim, right? Because you fight or whatever, you had a struggle with God. But the name Israel is written like this, right? Yud, Shin, Resh, Aleph, Hey, Lamed, right? Israel. However, I'm going to show you something. If I'm going to take the word Israel and I'm going to write Yashar El. Yashar El means be straight with God. Fix yourself. Conduct yourself in a straight fashion with God. B'derech yeshara. Not through, and that's the beauty of Yaakov. Yaakov, by his name, is Mazela Yaakov, somebody. Either to go behind, to trick, to follow, to all these things. Yaakov Avinu is done with the trickeries. Yaakov Avinu, when he becomes Israel, that is the ultimate tikkun. He reached such a level of Yashar im Elokim. He is straight with God. That's why it says when the Torah uses the description Bnei Yaakov, right, versus Bnei Israel. Bnei Yaakov is when we go back to our trickeries and so on and so forth. And the tikkun of us, and unfortunately, the name Medinat Israel, the state of Israel, should have been a place that we would have been Yashar Im Elokim. In other words, no more kombinatsiot, no more trickeries, no more closing an eye, no more doing this, no more all kind of like wheeling and dealing. Be straight. You want to be rewarded with the name Israel as a good title? Be Yasharim Elokim. Don't look for loopholes. Don't look for whatever. Just do it straight. It's a tremendous tikkun. That's what Yaakov became Israel. They could have given him a different name, right? They could have called him Lachamel, I don't know, fought with God. What is Sarita? I think the Remez, which is something that's beautiful that I heard, and I really loved it, and I want to share it with you, on that topic of tikkun, of what is the tikkun. So be yashar with Elokim, be straightforward with God. Al tiyu, don't be crooked and conniving and all kind of like trickeries, and that's why passive aggressive and all these things are very bad things, because you're learning to become a dishonest person, and that's not good. So now, if Yaakov was already mushlam, if Yaakov was already perfect, so why does he need now to run out to Chutz La'aretz, so outside of Israel, right, to go out from his place? So it seems that he's not just going for himself in order to take care of the sheep of Lavan. Son, which is herd of sheep, is referred to also to the neshamot of Israel. As we know, when we say in Yom Kippurim, in Rosh Hashanah, Kebakarat ro'ei edro, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is our shepherd. So the word son refers to the neshamot in which our forefathers did, right? And what the forefathers did not just do it for themselves, but they did it so for the tikkun klali of Am Yisrael, for the ultimate fix-up of Am Yisrael, until acharit hayamim, until the end of times. We need to make sure the tikkun is done. That's why I keep telling you this a million times. No Jew left behind. It doesn't make a difference if the guy is cool or the other guy is not cool. If you're having an event, you don't just invite the cool guys. You invite even the guys. First of all, you need to invite the guys who are not cool, because what? They're not Jews. You're learning to leave people behind. Where is this no Jew left behind that I taught you? Where is it? No Jew left behind. I really mean that. You got to take care of all, especially those who are not cool. Those who are cool, you don't need to take care of them. They take care of themselves. And that's a tremendous musar to all of us. There are many tzaddikim that could already sit down in peace and quiet, but they don't let themselves sit in peace and quiet. They could retire and watch sit down in front of the stand there and watch the life going to the horizon, like in peace and quiet. But they don't do so. And we say the same thing like Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu wanted to sit down in tranquility, right? Right, to have a little cerveza over there and some tacos or whatever he wanted to eat, or maybe hummus and food. I don't know what they were eating there. And kafatz alav rogzo shel Yosef. What do you mean you're going to sit down and chill out? Adonai, the people need it for you. The world needs you. The world needs you. So don't think about yourself so much. But those tzaddikim need to continue working, because if not, what in the world do I need you here? What does it do to have such a big tzaddik with such kochot and abilities when he's sitting down learning by himself his own Gemara? What do you need it for? Adoni, your job is done. You don't want to do your job. You call it quits. You're quitting. Remember, you're quitting. There's no way out. No way back. You're quitting. Good. Okay. Shalom. Bye. Bye. Your job here is done. Do you want to do that? You want to do it. You think about it. All these people, they have tremendous kochot and they learn, and the Talmidei Chachamim, I'll give them tochacha. Are they sitting down and learning with people who cannot learn? Are they teaching people? If yes, terrific. If not, watch out. Watch out. Make yourself available. But what are you here for? So Yaakov Avinu accept all this suffering, of traveling or taking care of Lavan's animals and so on, for Klal Israel for generations to come. He's willing to accept it upon himself. And the pasuk continues, the Torah continues. It says, when he reached again that place, וَيِكَחْ האَבَنִים וَيَשים מראש אותם, when he took the stones and put it for his head, he dreams a dream. He has a dream. And what's the dream? There is the sulam again, and so on and so forth, right? If we look at the word sulam, sulam is spelled samech vav lamed mem. However, over there it's spelled samech lamed mem. How much is sulam in that way? What's the gematria of that?
130.
130. That's exactly the years, 130 years that Adam HaRishon separated from his wife and did not want to be mekayem b'yishuvo shel olam. So Yaakov Avinu, there was the remes for that. So the Zohar says that this is in a way our machshava. With our thoughts, we are able to climb and reach all the way up to the heavens. That's why when Yaakov got up from his sleep, the pasuk says, "Vayikach et ha'even asher sam merashotav." At the beginning, there were stones. Then the stones became a stone. In other words, there's some miracle that happened here. And the Midrash says that Yaakov took the stones. They start to fight with each other. Which one? He collected stones. I don't know, maybe he wanted to make a fire pit. I don't know. But he wanted to collect a stone. So, you see, Yaakov Avinu was an outdoors man, probably went overlanding, and he did go overlanding. And he was not afraid, by the way, Yaakov Avinu was not afraid to work. He was not afraid to work hard. And he was not afraid of the outdoors. So if you already go on vacation, you make sure you go outdoors. You don't go to some resort. That would not cut it. And the stones were fighting. Who would put his head on me? Which one would he put the head on? Right? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a miracle and made it one stone. In other words, when we came out, and the representative of the 12 stones is the 12 Shvatim, the 12 tribes, when we will be able to come out from our Esav that is in us, how are we going to do so? Through the sulam, through the machshava. In other words, we need to leave the world of separation and division, and that's why people who are dividing, people who are conniving, people who hold a grudge, these are people who are not wanted in society. And these are kind of people that you should give them tochachai, they continue doing that, separate them, let them fall on themselves. That's the way it goes, because you will turn up to be like that. With that machshava, with coming out from this world of separation, we could be able, connect to the Yaakov inside of us and really reach Shamayim, heavens, to that place. And that place is the awareness that we are going to be in the awareness of one, in the oneness. In other words, that you see every Jew like you see yourself, and you love Hashem, and there's no difference between what you want and Hashem wants. You're willing to do Hashem wants. In that oneness, only through that oneness there's going to be the level of love, right? So when we live in such a way, we are living in a world of unity and perfection and harmony, and the whole entire universe becomes one. Even if you're going to look, and I'm not going to, you know me, but I'm not going to look into quantum physics. But the world before the Big Bang was amazing. Everything was in one thing, was tremendous unity. And the big universe that we have are around us, and you could see whatever it is. How many galaxies? 2 trillion galaxies out there. All came out from one single entity. The whole power of the universe. Imagine, if we would be one, if we will be united, this is the power of creation inside of us. The power of creation is the oneness, the echad, not the separation, not the perud, not the world that is driving itself to no end until the point that we're not going to be able to see anything in the sky. That's why people who put wedges and try to divide and conquer. These are people, as I said to you before, are not wanted among our midst. We don't want people like that. So, and this is, in a case like this, of course, it's not a wonder that, it's a small miracle for few stones to become one stone, but it's a remes for us, that entity of one in it. And this is the way that a parasha really gives an example, how really to be able to execute the human aspect inside of us to reach, that will enable us to reach a spiritual place in which we would like to reach. You can reach it when you are a passive-aggressive, dividing person, and so on and so forth. You are an Esav for that matter. And the highest level in our avodah, Rabotai, is not denial. Denial is a very bad thing. Denial brings you a place of and by the way, the parasha does not want you to deny even your own self, your urges, doesn't want us to break away and or to deny all the urges that we have inside us that we supposedly know they're not good, right? But on the contrary, the purpose is to identify the bad, to identify what bad, and to turn the bad into good. That act could be done by being aware of any kind of awakening of the Yetzer Hara, of the evil side inside of us, and not the awakening to actually do good, to do bad. On the contrary, we need to take this awakening to actually do good with it. And this kind of awareness, a person could see the awakening of the bad as a gift from God. And why is that? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to put an effort into Avodat Hashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to put an effort to continue and progressing and elevate yourself. So don't think, oh, Baruch Hashem, I'm keeping Shabbat, I'm learning Torah, I'm doing the mitzvot, I go to minyan, I put tefillin on, I give tzedakah, etc., etc., etc. I'm good. There's nothing for me to work on. On the contrary, everybody has something bad in him. This is why we say, En tzaddik shelo yechta. Why the tzaddik is chotea? How can I call it a tzaddik and a sinner in the same breath? Because the bad allows me to become closer to the process of tshuva, to the process of awareness, to become even closer to Hashem, to become a real tzaddik. So the mechanism is there. You cannot really deny it. And this is when we say all the time, of course, when it's done all with unity, with us and the will of Hashem. And that's why we say, Shiviti Hashem leneged einai tamid. I always contemplating on God all the time. In other words, Shiviti, not always contemplating. Shiviti, also Shivyon. Shivyon means equal. In other words, in all situations, in everything that I'm at, man's job is using the bad as a tool for the good to do God's will. To do God's will. Including the bad in the good. Because good by itself cannot exist. It needs to have the bad in it, but it makes it work for it. Right? You make the bad your slave. It works for you instead of you being the slave of your bad. It's the same thing, for example, like your telephone. Right? Is the telephone working for you, or are you working for the phone? Are you working for your urges, or you let the urges motivate you and make you do things that are good? You need to really, it's the same thing, but it all depends on how you're looking at it and how you actually approach it. Unfortunately, nobody teaches you how to do so. People tell you the opposite. Kill the bad, kill it, destroy it, deny it. No, you can't. It's going to, the pressure inside of you is going to be so great, you would not be able to control where it's going to come out. It might come in a place that it's very, very vulnerable and important to you, and it's going to be devastating to you. If you see something bad, say it. Say it. Otherwise, that actual self-denial is catastrophic for you. It would arrest your growth and is very dangerous. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. So at the beginning of this, right? So Shivyon Everything that Hashem wants is what I want. So let's see now exactly what a man needs to really do, or the whole man, the complete man needs to do. I mean, after all, why is Yaakov leaving, coming out of Israel to Haran? Why this our neshama comes out to this world? This is what the same thing as Yaakov. This is the reason why the neshama, the soul, comes to this world, so we could do what it is. So the beginning of the world, as the Ari says, there was shvirat hakilim, breaking of the vessels. After the sin of Adam Harishon, there was shin chet. How much is shin chet? Shin chaf. 320 sparks of Adam Harishon came out to the section of the klipot, of the husk in this world, which is into this world. That's why the Mekubalim explained to us that any aspect of anything that happens in the world, even with what seems to us completely bad, which is going to be the Sitra Achara and all these troops of the Sitra Achara, there's also a spark of holiness. Even in otherwise, if it's completely bad, cannot exist. You need to have some atomic movement. At 0 Kelvin, there's no atomic movement. So therefore you cease to exist. I learned something interesting today, that even in the ultimate emptiness of space, there cannot be, and it's above our ability to understand, there is no such state as absolute empty. There's always something. We call it God. God is everywhere. There's never an absolute zero. No such thing. So Rav Dessler explains, and I'm quoting, Matarat Briya, the purpose of creation, is Gilui Kvod Shamayim Shel Hashem Yitbarach, is to revealing and to sanctify God's name. So therefore, if somebody loses something, your job is to say, listen, buddy, what do you want me to do? Is you lost it. That's Kiddush Shem Shamayim. I'm revealing God's name. So, oh wow, look, a wonderful thing, a wonderful thing. And he says, Gilui Haor Shel HaBorei LaNivraim, exposing God's light to creation, and everything that is not serving this purpose as a apparatus for this purpose should not have any existence within you, or you should not have anything to do with it. So it's very, very simple, and it's very, very easy now to really put your forces and put your abilities to really do and deal with what you need. It's very simple. If, for example, let's say you can read the regular Gemara, so you need to buy the art school in English, you do the Gemara. So, okay, how much is it? That's a few $1,000s to buy the whole entire thing. For these few $1,000s, you can buy a car. Which one of them? Do you really need the car? No, you live in New York City. It's impossible to drive a car. It's hell for cars in New York City. That's why I think they don't fix the potholes. You break your cars and then, whatever. Let's not get into politics here. You would buy a shas, or you'll buy a car? Let's say you could get anywhere with the public transportation. You have a subway. You park the car, you have your car, you drive it, does not move a whole entire week. What in the world do you need a car? But do you have a shas? No. Why? Because you made the wrong decision. What was my wrong decision? I didn't evaluate it appropriately. I did not evaluate it appropriately. Why did I evaluate it appropriately? How did it serve me to reveal and to expose God's light in this world? It didn't. Therefore, I don't need it. Yes, there is a lot of sales in Cyber Monday and Analog Tuesday or whatever the heck you have there. Do you need it? Yes, I think I do. Or why do you need it? How is this going to help you sanctify God's name? What are you exactly doing for that? Anything? No. So you don't need it. It's very simple. Very simple. And that will be true to any activity. You want to talk about going on a vacation? How are you going to do? Are you going to go to a vacation to, see the mountain, and so you can make a bracha, oseh maaseh bereshit? Yes? Okay, so go. But if you're going over there to see women wearing bikinis and all kind of funky things like that, how is this going to bring exactly God's word to the light? I'm not going to light God's light to the world. I'm not quite sure. So very simple. You don't go. anything that you engage with. The question is this going to help me bring God's light to the world? Yes, I do it. Yes, I buy it. No, don't need it. Very simple. Very simple. It's believe me, as simple as that. That's what Rav Dessler says. It says, why? It says, everything that there is a nitzotz kedusha, a spark of holiness from the time of Shvirat HaKilin, there is a nitzotz that is actually gives it chayut, right? And as soon as you bring the nitzotz and you lift it up in terms of the spark, right? That item doesn't have it. You elevated it. It's out. It did its tikkun already. That's why we need to make a bracha on everything we do. And without getting into this, we spoke about it many times. We're not getting into it now. So is again to any food that you eat, right, or any place that we go, and that's why I said to you regarding galut, going to exile. Galut Mitzrayim was a process that came to take the sparks of holiness that fell into the klipa of Mitzrayim, whatever the klipa is, whatever. We spoke about this again many times, before in the past. Their job was to go there. As you know, there are different opinions on exactly how many Jews percentage-wise left out of Egypt, right? Some say 1/5. And the other extreme, which is Rabbi Akiva, he says 1 of 250, left. The rest of them stayed in Mitzrayim. The rest of them stayed in Mitzrayim. That was the thing going to Mitzrayim. And the same thing here. Mitzrayim was like imagine an ocean with no fish, right? It says because it says Vayenatzlu et Mitzrayim. Amar Rav Ami says melamed she'asa'a kemetzuda she'en ba dagan. ורצה לומר עשאוה כמצולה שאין בה דגים. It's like an ocean. An ocean with no fish is a very lonely place. Almost as lonely as Manhattan. Right? And if you look, it's over there in Seder Zayim. So why? Because there were no more nitzatzot of it, no more holy sparks there. That's why Egypt did not have any more kiyum. And really, you see that eventually Egypt descended and got destroyed and never came to its greatness as it was after the Jews left. I mean, just look at it this way. The same thing with Spain. Spain, the great empire of the Middle Ages. The Jews, they kicked the Jews out. What happened with Spain? Look at them today. Nothing. They absolutely are nothing nation now. Any place, that's right. Any place the Jews went, whereas, any place. Now, the whole reality, the real reality of Egypt really was what it was taken out and then simply crumbled, just like a body. When you take the neshama out, which is the holy spark, it takes time for the body to disintegrate, but eventually the body disintegrates and it's not there anymore. It's guys, you don't need to know major Kabbalah for that. All this example for anything that you want to know, it's all here, all around you, all the time. If you just choose, as they say in Mission Impossible, if you choose to accept. From here we learn and we can understand that everything that exists in the world, even the bad on all its aspects, even exile that we're at, and the hard places, and the uncomfortable moments, and the difficulties, or the bothering thoughts that sometimes we had, everything you could reveal if you have the emunah inside of you. With everything you could reveal some kedusha, some holiness from it, and actually make it work for you to elevate yourself to a higher level, to make it into a vessel to reveal the light from you. And when the option or the chance to reveal that light is far, right? That's why the nitzotz is in galut. And by the way, this is what Tosfot says many times. And what Tosfot says regarding the reason, regarding the reason why the Jews went in galut, they went to bring out all the lost neshamot of those people who went off the derech, of the neshamot of Gerei Tzedek, to bring them out, to bring them back to the holy place. And you really see in our time, places that you never thought that there were Jews from, and all of a sudden, everybody wants to claim they're Jews. Regardless of all the anti-Semitism. And yet, on the other hand, you see a lot of Jews that are trying to make their effort not to, like those morons in Montreal that would, or in Ottawa in Canada, demonstrated Jews for parasatans, right? These are not Jews. These are bad sparks. These are, should I say it, recyclable. There's no kedusha in it. There's no holiness in it. That's why. But those Jews voting for something good, they're always for the bad. So there's nothing really good in that. So now what happens, right? When we are in exile, there's a lot of tum'ah around us, and the tum'ah, milshon atum, really seals us spiritually, and it really waits there patiently for us to reveal it. That's why we all have a job to do, and therefore you cannot really just think about yourself. When the option comes near to really reveal, right, that sparks could be revealed, and the time to do it is now. This whole entire process is called birur hanitzotzot, assortment of holy sparks, or elevation of a holy spark to a level. Rabotai, this is a tremendous, important message that carries in this parasha. Many people don't want to hear it. They just want to hear midrashim and stories and fairy tales. I'm telling you here a guidebook to actually how to elevate your life and to live your life differently. I would really recommend to you to do so, for, again, as I said, not just for the sake of you personally, but rather for the sake of all of us as Jews and all of us as people. We need to stop with the impurity and bring the holiness back up to the surface to reveal God's life. In other words, we need to make ourselves the appropriate vessel to hold on to this light without any dissonance between us and Hashem. God's will is going to become our will. And Be'ezrat Hashem, sooner than later, we should be able to see that, and the Tikkun will be Shalem, and the Temple Mount is going to be built again with the Jewish temple. Amen. And there's going to be peace and harmony in the world, and we all should have a Shabbat Shalom.